Wow, you are in for a treat. Welcome to the first day of Predictions Week. These predictions, mind you, are in stone.
Yep.
And you will be staked to them for the rest of the year. So if you predict, say, out of the blue, a Raiders-Cardinals Super Bowl, just because the team that hosted the Super Bowl had gone to the Super Bowl in consecutive years, you will be mocked mercilessly for months. We will predict every conference, every award, and every playoff game. And we start today with the AFC East. Nick, take it away.
4-1 from the AFC East, one of the most intriguing divisions in sports. We have mocked Kevin Wildes all offseason, saying the Patriots are more likely to finish last than finish first. And while I do not have them finishing first, I do not have them finishing last.
Let's go.
Coming in last in the AFC East, the New York Jets, the most overrated 7-win team I've ever seen in NFL history. 5 of those 7 wins came against backup or third-string quarterbacks. But wait, Nick, you're underrating the fact that they have the 12th best receiver in football. No, I think I'm rating it exactly right, along with a soon-to-be 40-year-old quarterback. But he was awesome this offseason. He was nice to his teammates, I guess. Number 3 in the division, the New England Patriots. Listen, they won 8 games last year with, as Wild says, a defensive coordinator cosplaying as an offensive coordinator. That should be better, but they still have a very hard ceiling thanks to McCorkle Jones. I do trust Belichick in the defense, but not quite good enough to be in the playoff team. Back in the playoffs, but not a divisional champion, the Buffalo Bills. I'm not sure if the Super Bowl banner makes sense, but a wild card banner might. I do think they'll be a playoff team. I don't think the Diggs-Allen drama is nonsense. I think it is a reason to be very concerned. Very concerned, as Sean McDermott told us. Also, does anyone know when Von Miller's coming back? And that leaves us to number 1, the Miami Dolphins, a team that when their quarterback was healthy last year looked like a top 3 offense. I love the addition of Vic Fangio on the defensive side of the ball. And at some point this year, they will be getting Jalen Ramsey. That should be a nice shot in the arm come December. I like the Dolphins roster. I love the coach. I can trust the quarterback just enough as long as he's healthy. Their coach is my AFC East 1 through 4.
Well, first of all, nothing excites me more than preseason predictions.
Yes. We waited for you to be here for this.
I am so excited about this week. But look, nice start here, Nick, kind of. I agree with your second and third place finishers. I think the Bills will probably finish second, and the Pats will probably finish right where you have them there. But I see the Dolphins and the Jets switch, and I don't. I do not want to be accused of being like a overwhelming Jets supporter. But there's too many good things happening there. I think at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is going to be closer to the MVP form than he was what he was last year. He started early. He's with a coordinator he knows. He's got guys he knows. They've got the 4th best defense. They've got 3 really good running backs. They just spent $7 million on Dalvin Cook, and they already had Breece Hall and Michael Carter. So there's all those things. And you say they won 7 games, okay, and they had a terrible quarterback situation. You're counting that as a bad thing. To me, I think that's a good thing that they were as competitive as they were with that situation. And I think the downside for Miami, and I love the addition of Vic Fangio, that's going to change things for him defensively, but I don't think Tua is going to be able to hold up throughout the course of the season, and that's going to derail
Tom
what
Brady
Miami
slides
has.
right in.
Woo!
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Coach was dropping knowledge, Coach.
that
All right,
means that
let's
you're
get
similar.
now. Your Knicks were. I like to think of mine not as predictions, but as projections. Okay, predictions is kind of, as you saw with Nick, willy-nilly, a lot of football gods and pixie dust and all that. Projections are fact. Projections more based in reality and fact.
Everybody loves a good projection.
A projection more based in reality, as you're about to see, Wild. You're not going to like it. That's why you took Nick's side on that. Number 4. The New England Patriots.
Oh, gosh.
The quarterback is the worst in the division by a mile.
That's true.
A mile.
I disagree.
How much protection we'll get to that later, but they don't look like they're going to protect him well, at least not early on until they get healthy. And I don't see enough talent at the skill positions. This wasn't enough talent for Tom Brady to carry. All right, how in the world is Mac Jones going to carry this type of skill mediocrity? And I just don't see it happening, Wild. So you're last in the division, sorry to say. Number 3, I'm kind of with Coach Miami Dolphins. This one hurt me because I do, obviously, you see the talent there. Obviously, at all the skill positions, Jalen Ramsey obviously won't be there. They added him. Fangio will help. But I'm with Coach Tua. I hope I'm wrong in him staying healthy. But It's hard to trust him being healthy. And as all three of the teams ahead of the Patriots, I considered for the playoffs strongly, but I got to leave one out. I'm leaving out Miami. Number 2, the New York Jets. All right, look.
Come on.
I got it. This might not sound as, analytical as it really is.
Oh, yeah.
But I like what I've been seeing on Hard Knocks.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
The vibes are great.
The vibes. Pixie dust and sports gods. And he's doing
the
vibes.
vibes are great. The vibes are phenomenal.
Doing a vibe check. Wow.
But as Coach said, there's a lot of other things. They got great. You downplay Jared Wilson. That dude is bad, man. He's going to have a great year. The running game, Garrett Wilson, the running game is fantastic. The defense is going to be one of the best in the league. Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers is all in. I'm with Coach. He'll be closer to MVP Rodgers than
I'm
just
glad
year.
you're back on the Bills. Yeah. Bru's Bills.
The Bills.
Like you never
yeah.
left.
I don't see 13 wins again, but they're going to be right there. Vibes aren't good.
Okay, that's what
Vibes aren't good. But they got talent. Josh Allen is a great quarterback. Stephon Diggs is a great receiver.
Bad job.
What? Okay, why?
The number 2 pick can't be, I love their vibes, and then the number 1 pick, they got bad vibes. You can't use vibes as an indicator.
Talent sometimes can outweigh vibes.
I was with you on the projection versus prediction. I like that, but when you went to the Hard Knocks as your rationale for the set, Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown an incompletion on Hard Knocks. It's amazing. He is not. So I got to take a few points off of that. Look, I think New England's, just because of where they are defensively, they're going to be in every single game. They were top 5 in multiple categories, including like turnovers, sacks, the ones that matter. There hasn't been a ton of defensive turnover, so you've got that continuity, and that'll keep them close. Can they figure out the offensive line? Can they get a running game that's meaningful beyond Ramondre Stevenson?
Hello, Zeke.
But at some point you got to make somebody miss. So that's a problem. And
he's only saying they're not going to be last. He's not saying they're going to win the division.
They could win some games that they shouldn't win just based off of coaching and where they are defensively. And they should be better than they were offensively last year.
We just win 2 games that we weren't supposed to win. That brings us to 10-7. Sneak right into the playoffs.
Well, if you just think of the Las Vegas game last year.
There we go. We would have won that in overtime. Quickly, here's a quick stat from Mark Daniels. And I'm not big on preseason stats.
Well, no, that's not true.
But if a guy jumped over the goalpost, are we supposed to just ignore it?
No.
So if something jumps out to you, and all of a sudden this year, Mac Jones has gone from 64% of his passes completed to 77%. That means he's on track. The NFL record is 74% from Drew Brees. And I know you're thinking.
And he's done 6 less endorsements, which is nice.
Okay, Coach. I know you're saying.
Did you see Will Greer in preseason? That last game a couple days ago?
Does Will Greer hold the college completion percentage record? No. So Mac Jones is continuing his trajectory from high school, college, to the pros. So thank you, Mac Jones. You're going to do a fantastic job. Nick, we're moving on to the NFC East.
All right, so great job there, Wilds. I appreciate you doing a total 180 on your care about preseason stats from last year to this year. I respect it. Coming in last in the NFC East, listen, I wish Eric Bieniemy the best, and I wish this weren't the case. But Sam Howell is your Week 1 starter. You already have odd, as far as Brou would call it, vibes between the receivers and the head coach and the offensive coordinator about whether or not, they actually like Bieniemy's coaching style. And I thought their decision to not pick up Chase Young's 5th-year option was inexplicable despite the injuries. We know what a talent he is, and to potential let the number 2 pick of the draft hit free agency when you could add an option made no sense to me. They're number 4. Number 3 is the New York Giants. Now, they were number 3 last year, but that was good enough to make the postseason. It will not be this year. The New York Giants have an excellent coach, a pretty darn good defense. I like their running back, but the problem is when it comes to all things throwing the football, I do not believe in them.
Fair.
And so I understand that Greg Jennings tells us Dan Jones is one of the 8 best quarterbacks in the world. I don't know that he's one of the 8 best quarterbacks in his conference. He definitely is in the division, but there's only 4 teams there. So I have the Giants number 3. Number 2.
Ooh.
The Philadelphia Eagles. I have them back in the playoffs, but not the dominant team they were last year. You worry about them up the middle of the defense after the defensive line. They don't prioritize safety. They don't prioritize that inside linebacker. I understand those aren't glamour positions, but that team can got there. And if they do not have 70 sacks again, you worry about their pass defense. I worry about the maturity of their head coach, and I worry about how well they have done over the last 2 years against any team that has a pulse from a passing perspective. They are a great defense, but that has feasted on some very bad passing attacks. When they have faced real quarterbacks, the defense hasn't looked quite as good. And as good as Jalen was, I don't know that I expect him to be an MVP candidate again. So that's how you go from 14 wins down to probably 10 wins. And then winning the division, and the team that I think will have the best record in the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys. They have, I believe, the best defense in football. They have not the best receiving core in the league, but 3 legitimate receivers behind a good, not great number 1 in CeeDee Lamb. I like Gallup. Brandon Cooks is the most traded player in league history, but wherever he goes, he seems to be productive. True. And the best running back on their team last year is now their feature running back. You add all of that to the fact it will be a solid offensive line once again for them. I like the Cowboys a lot. I think last year they won 12 games despite their starting quarterback missing 5 weeks and losing 2 in overtime. I like the Dallas Cowboys coach to win the division.
Love it.
Yeah, I don't know what to do right now. I don't know whether to tell America to go out and bet all their money on this lineup or to run as far away from it as you can, because I agree with it.
1 through 4?
Wow.
Yes!
I agree.
Oh, look at that!
Which must mean this is absolutely flawed.
Oh, no, it's going to happen, Coach.
Maybe run from this or bet against it. Put, I don't know where to go with the fact that we agree on this.
So much smarter.
The issue I have with the Giants is whoever made the schedule must be really angry at the organization. So they've got 7 out of 10 games to start the season are on the road. They've got 3 games in the first 11 days. It's just a brutal start to the season. They paid guys a lot of money, but they didn't get different guys. They just had to pay the same guys that much more money. Added Waller, that's nice, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard road for them. The Eagles, look, 8 number 1s on defense, which they can make a lot of noise, but they've had turnover at the safety, turnover at the linebacker spot. They've got new coordinators. They've got to deal with success. They've got a quarterback that made a lot of money. They'll justify it. I think all those things are going to be hard, and it's tough for me to put Dallas in the 1 spot, but I do agree. I like Dan Quinn a lot. I like what they're doing defensively a lot, and I think Brian Schottenheimer as their offensive coordinator is going to do good things as well.
Brou, just make it a clean sweep. It's the same thing.
Coach,
same
you had such a strong start to this segment, but I hate to kill it now.
All right, maybe my vibes are off. I need a vibe check. Is that available? Yeah.
Number 4. The New York Giants.
Wow.
And Coach, look, he talked about how tough the schedule is going to be.
Brutal.
All right, and I look, I don't think, I'm not as down on Daniel Jones as Nick is. Obviously, I'm not as high on him as Greg Jennings. But I just don't think he has great, even though they added a Paris Campbell. I mean, Paris Campbell's okay, but that's your big addition at the receiver? Like, I don't think they have great players at the skill position. I like Saquon. I'm not sure he's going to have another 1,400-yard season. So I got the Giants in 4th. Washington, I like them a little bit.
Thank you.
Not a Super Bowl team like you've been saying, but the defense is legit.
That defense is legit.
No, not yet.
No. He's leaning hard there. Sam Howell's I think Eric Bieniemy already, I know it's preseason, but I've just seen, I like the way they're running their offense and stuff. Obviously, you got a Terry McLaurin. You got some decent skill position players. So I got them in 3rd. And then I got Dallas. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Dallas and Philly are really close. I wouldn't be shocked if they won, but I got them 2nd right now. I think the question for the Cowboys, they're obviously going to make the playoffs. They're one of the top 3 teams in the conference. But are they going to expect Dak to carry them, put him on his shoulders and carry him, or is he going to be a glorified game manager? I think that's when he's best, as a glorified game manager who can make big plays here and there. So, and then I got Philly, of course, winning the division. I don't think Jalen Hurts will allow them to have a Super Bowl hangover. I just think he's such a great leader. Jason Kelce.
Tom Brady had a Super Bowl hangover.
But he was, well, I was going to say he was early in his career as is Jalen.
He may not allow the offense to, but it seems like the defense is still caught up.
Defense is,
on the Super Bowl.
I like Jalen Carter.
They can't get over the cleats.
They can't get over it. And the refs, the cleats.
They have been talking a lot about the refs. But I like Jalen Carter, the rookie. I think he's going to have a great year and a great impact. And Jason Kelce is only back for one reason, to win the Super Bowl.
The reason I like Dallas to overtake Philly is I think they'll commit to running the ball. Brian Schottenheimer was my offensive coordinator at the Jets.
They should.
He loved running the ball. He's not afraid to stay with that. And to me, that's the formula for Dak to be really successful.
Coach, can I sell you on the Commanders' defense real quick?
Sure.
Jack Del Rio. Just because, Brou, you're halfway there. You moved them out of the basement. First of all, when you talk about worst to first, I don't think they're going to be first. But they were 8-1 last year. Opponent third down percentage, they were first. Completion percentage, second. Total yards per game, they were third. Big plays, they were fourth. Opponents points per game, they were seventh. I think they're going to be a good squad, and I believe this is a little bit of vibes. Eric Bieniemy's like, finally, I've got control of the offense here. I'm going to do whatever I want, and I think he's going to try to be spectacular, and I think Sam Howell's going to play well. I've got him coming in second.
Second?
Second.
I don't want to vibe check you, but a couple years ago I had my youngest son pick Washington's defense for his fantasy team.
Yeah.
And they were terrible, and I haven't been able to get over that.
Oh,
I'm scarred. I'm scarred. It's a vibe thing, you know.
The vibes were really off on this segment.
Yeah, Brou.
You set us off into a
Brou started off. He was like, "Oh, you're pixie dust. You're sports gods." Let me tell you about the
vibes.
The vibes was on top of the facts that coach.
Oh, I like that.
He gave me all the facts about the Jets, so I came with the chemistry.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.